This is the Bethune-Cookman University Wildcat News Feed on Sirius XM, Radio Channel 142. HBCU, broadcasting from the Wildcat Lab in Daytona Beach, Florida. WELE 1380, The Cat. It's time to hear the good news from BCU.
Good afternoon and welcome to the BCU Wildcat Newsfeed, also known as #TalkTuesday, the place where we get the real, raw, and relevant information about what's going down on the campus of Bethune-Cookman University. Today you are listening to WELE 1380. I am your host, Franshawn Reed Barnes, and today with me I have two very special guests. The first guest that I have with me is the 6th president of Bethune-Cookman University, Dr. Edison O. Jackson. Welcome.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. It is great to have you. And then our second guest is Chairman of the Board of Trustees, Chairman Petrock. Welcome.
Thank you, Fran. It's a pleasure to be here with Dr. Jackson and you today. And Harold, thank you so much for allowing me to be here.
Absolutely. Well, let's just get straight to the point. Last week, there was a news outlet that put out a press release about some information regarding Secretary of Education Betsy DeVos, and they released her schedule. And from her schedule, it was very evident that she would be the keynote speaker for Bethune-Cookman's 2017 spring commencement. And with that release came various different opinions and perspectives of the decision that had been made. Some were favorable and some were not so favorable. But today on Talk Tuesday, we want to go straight to the source. So President Jackson, I'm going to come straight to you. Can you tell us, why did you choose Secretary DeVos as the 2017 commencement speaker?
Let me just put everything in context, historical context, if I may. We have been about the business as an academic institution to invite different voices to the campus, some of whom we were mainstream and we were happy to have them, others because we wanted to educate our students that the world that they will live in and do live in is a very diverse world. And if you're going to succeed, one has to be able to understand the variety of positions that people in our world, in our state, in our United States, and in our country, that they have. So how is it that we cannot provide an opportunity for our students to have dialogue about what they may conceive as the opposition? The truth of the matter is that we have a new administration, and some may not be enamored with that new administration, but they're going to be around. Their policies and the work that they do will affect our lives. And our students are not going to live in this enclave called Bethune-Cookman University. They have to go out and to work and live in a broader society. And our goal is to prepare them for that world. And so that they can be successful, so that they can deal with the vicissitudes of life that they will face. And for some to suggest that we ought not to listen to people who may not think that way we do or have the experiences that we have. The truth of the matter is that Bethune-Cookman University was founded in a very different way. Our founder encouraged some people whom we would not even necessarily suggest that she should have. But when you think about our founder who rode a bicycle to cross the beach street to sell potato pies so that we could survive, and I think, I mean, if you think about human dignity, to get on a bicycle, to sell pies, and now we are saying that we don't want to hear from a Secretary of Education who has the ability to influence all of education, and especially HBCUs. It seems to me it's short-sighted, and it's not a winning strategy. And so how are we going to teach our students to win if we don't want to listen to opposing voices? I find it fascinating that people who have achieved want to impose upon those of us who have not yet achieved their vision, their situation, their prejudices, and say, and after all this is over with, our people still suffer. And so I'm saying, do you have a solution to what it is that you're opposed to? If not, then why not be quiet? Because the truth of the matter is that we have to, our schools in this country have failed black and brown and poor white kids. And so some are fearful of the notion of charter schools. If you look at Florida and you look at the charter schools that are successful and that young people have new lease on life, those parents have an opportunity to see their children become all that God has ordained them to be. And then you, on the other hand, see communities all over the nation, Florida in particular, where children are not succeeding, and therefore they become fodder for the criminal justice system. It ought to raise the same amount of energy they are spending on inviting the Secretary of Education. What's going to happen tomorrow when those children who you look at in their eyes and see no hope in their eyes? What's going to happen to kids who spend their time and life in a school that has the least prepared teachers, the worst in most cases, the facilities, and then you go off and do on to another agenda? See, for me, it is not about Betsy DeVos. It is about how can I get her to recognize that there are children who are suffering and falling by the wayside, and to help to sensitize her and to be able to be at the table. One of our elected officials used to say, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And the truth of the matter is that she is passionate about education, more so than I've seen any time recently. Now, and so we say we don't like their policies. But if you're on the outside, you cannot influence the policies that are being developed on the inside. And we have to be smarter than what people are trying to prescribe for us, how we ought to behave. And when they're on the outside themselves, and they are, and so my notion is that God has given me a mandate. It's a spiritual warfare. I'm firmly convinced it's spiritual warfare. And because what's the alternative? What is the alternative? If Bethune-Cookman University doesn't have an opportunity to have an entree and to sit at the table and to talk to policymakers about what makes sense for our community. And I don't know what the end may be, but I can tell you one thing, that God is in the business right now. And he's up to something. I don't know what that is. And I didn't choose to be in this position that I'm in. But the truth of the matter is that I am passionate about our children, the least of those. And I don't see people raising the question about the children are being lost. And see, and that bothers me. You see, because we all who got our education and able to do what we are doing and find jobs, but the question is, what about those children? And I don't hear them. All they're saying, I don't like the policies of Secretary Betsy DeVos. But the truth of the matter is that the Secretary of Education has become more sensitive to our plight because of our conversation with her. And even the fact of the matter that the President of the United States made an announcement originally saying that he had a question about HBCU's funding for capital projects. Right on the back of that, he came out in a sense saying, I have a new attitude. And I'm going to support all those things about the initiatives about HBCUs. Now, that didn't just happen. The Secretary of Education has some ability to influence. And what we want at Bethune-Cookman University, the great Bethune-Cookman University, is to be able to influence. It's not for me. I'm at an age that I've done a lot for this world, and my God has blessed me. But I'm talking about those who are going to follow us and are going to be concerned and be committed to not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. Because I'm afraid that after this all is over with, all these folks who've been complaining and been at my doorstep will go back to business as usual, and our children will still be lost.
Thank you so much, President Jackson, for opening our eyes to really what led the decision to bring Secretary DeVos to BCU. And I have to say that one thing I really admire about you is that this wasn't just a political decision, and you don't separate being a president from being a man of God. And it seems that this was not political, but this was a decision that was led by faith and led by God. So thank you so much for opening our eyes to that. Now, it seems that after she leaves, you're hoping that you all will be able to maintain a partnership moving forward. And so one question I have before I move to the chairman is it your hope that she will be able to partner with Bethune-Cookman University and help local public schools in Florida after she departs?
Well, that's a great question. This is not just a one chance in a lifetime, if you will. Our conversation with her handlers is that we don't need to be just upfront, if you will. We are about the business of permanent solutions. And when I look at my HBCU colleagues, presidents, we have been having a conversation about how do we create greater success for our young people? And so I've said to the secretary that you got to bring something. This is not a freebie. The chairman and I have gone through all kinds of assaults on our character, and our commitment to our people, and to suggest that this isn't a photo opportunity. There are many other ways I could spend my time than being bruised and abused and accused of not being a child of God. But see, God has said already that I got your back. And so I'm not worried about all the stuff that people come into the offices today to give petitions. It's fine, but what you going to do tomorrow? What are you going to do when I pass off the scene? When we decide that there's a better, that we decide that God has fulfilled and what we called us to do? Because see, it is not about, you see, we're all here for such a time as this. In this case, we are here. I don't know where I would be in terms of this university without Chairman Joseph Petrock. He is so committed to our children, to our university. He and his wife has given over $1 million, and there's more to come. And so anybody want to question his commitment, then I asked them, give $1 million then. I looked at some of the alums who are complaining about what we should not have invited. Then I look at their giving record, they haven't given anything. And then the question becomes, now, by the way, members of our Board of Trustees, there are 7, I believe, have given $1 million apiece. But what about the people who are complaining out there, who God has blessed to get an education, whether that's Bethune-Cookman University or some other institution, and give nothing back to our institutions as in terms of a collective group. So if you're saying that we ought not be supportive of Secretary DeVos, then where's your money? Show me your money. Then what is the alternative? So the notion is, I'm not just here for Bethune-Cookman University. I'm encouraging and opening doors for our other presidents of HBCUs to sit at the table. On Thursday, we're doing a prayer breakfast. And she asked for the prayer breakfast because she believes that God is able. And to walk into in some cases a hostile environment and not to be afraid. It's and to think that Bethune-Cookman University is the institution of a higher learning in all these places in this country that you chose in terms of giving a commencement speech, the first commencement speech, that speaks volumes about our founder and who we are and the leadership we have with our chairman and the board of trustees. I mean, it kind of make you want to do a holy dance, a shout for God for what He's done, and some of our folks who are distractors are not about the concern about us meaning our children, and so I am convinced, without a doubt, that we are doing the right thing. And God will, in His infinite wisdom, will demonstrate in a powerful way why He chose Bethune-Cookman University. Because I didn't choose it. I didn't choose that. We were on a whole nother agenda. And then to have a board of trustees, a chairman, both of whom are committed to pushing this university forward, challenging me to do better. It's a journey. So.
Well, thank you so much, President Jackson. Now, Chairman, I want to turn it over to you at this point. A lot of people have been pointing the finger. They've been saying, this is not President Jackson, this is the Board of Trustees. And I want to approach this from a different perspective. Can you talk to our audience about the goal and the mission of the Board of Trustees?
Fran, again, first of all, thank you for inviting me to the CAT Radio. It's an honor and pleasure to be here today with Dr. Jackson. Let me first talk about our sixth president of Bethune-Cookman University. You know, our community is indeed fortunate to have the leadership of Dr. Edison O. Jackson. He spent a lifetime of serving institutions of higher education. He's written extensively on issues of concern to educators. He's been recognized not only locally, nationally, been featured in countless magazines. We have a star who has brought us to the next level at Bethune-Cookman University. See, early in my career, we had a speaker at the Chamber of Commerce when I was chairman. It was truly a great American, General Norman Schwarzkopf, during the Gulf War. General Schwarzkopf talked about outstanding leaders and the qualities of leaders. He said there's two rules for successful people in life. He said the first, when you're in a position of leadership, you take charge. But rule 14, he said, which is most important, is you always do what's right. And that's what our president, Dr. Jackson, is doing. As we build new community partnerships, we host now the largest gala in this community attended, where you have to turn people away, over 900 folks at the Ocean Center who support Bethune-Cookman University. I asked our naysayers, what are you doing to help us build new partnerships, relationships, and bringing those folks to support this university? Would they support this university if we would put our head in the sand and wouldn't think outside the box? You know, we're non-political at Bethune-Cookman University. We support folks of all political parties because we want our kids to graduate with the knowledge, skills, and values to be successful citizens in our democratic society. And I didn't think that one opinion was right or wrong. We need, as Dr. Jackson said, to be open-minded, listen to all, share our thoughts, our ideas or concerns, and strive to move this university forward. We're doing that, as I said, with building new partnerships. More folks are investing than ever before. We have more million-dollar donors than ever before. We're working to improve the quality of life in the Midtown area. Our community is growing. It's prospering. We're trying to educate those who have never had a chance to be employed before in Midtown to have that chance for a career in this community. As so many folks are expanding their businesses, bringing new businesses to our area. We've just announced countless new subdivisions. We're 6,000 new homes in one alone. Can you imagine the folks that are going to be needed to build those homes, construct those homes, sell the insurance, provide the health care, etc.? We have those opportunities for our university. Under Dr. Jackson's leadership, we now expect our professors to not only write but publish to ensure our students are get the best value for their dollars here. And we're focused on not just helping BCU become a top-ranked HBCU, but making it a top-ranked small liberal arts university in America. That's our focus. That's our dream, that our kids will, when they hang that diploma, they'll realize, I graduated from the great Bethune-Cookman University. Now, what do we expect of our students? We expect them to be the best they can be. We challenge them to be the best they can be because we want all to support this university. And that's what Dr. Bethune did. You know, when I read about Dr. Bethune, she never allowed obstacles or life challenges to stop her from doing what she knew was right, or what needed to be corrected when society had wrongdoings. When she saw a wrong, she did what she could do to correct it. And I look at Dr. Jackson to talk about education and the funding. You see, nobody realizes. Under the previous administration and national government, we lost over $3.5 million in federal funding for our university. So should we sit on our hands, do nothing, or should we challenge those in the federal government to listen to us? Open your doors and your pocketbooks to return those resources back to HBCUs and back to Bethune-Cookman University so our students can graduate with the knowledge, skills, and values to be successful. You know, we're going to have record enrollment at Bethune-Cookman. We're going to have over 4,200 kids, I believe, coming to this university. Our GPA will be the highest ever of over 3.2 at this university. And the Board of Trustees, it's not a little board. We have 31 folks from all over the U.S. who are committed. They're CEOs, they're bank presidents, they're successful folks in real estate, successful attorneys, healthcare, folks from all walks of life who are focused on ensuring our kids at BCU have the best experience. You see, folks, I don't like can't do. Our folks said, oh, you can't build those new residence halls. And we had to put our students up in apartments outside the university because of construction that was substandard. How did that construction get done? Dr. Jackson's leadership doesn't allow that to take place today. We've hired the best and brightest at that university to ensure when we have our residence facilities built, they meet the codes and the standards that are set forth by the cities and the counties. We have questions to ask from years ago. How do folks get paid and built those things that are substandard that have cost us millions of dollars to correct? So we're focused on building new partnerships, relationships, and ensuring that we move this university forward. I'm so proud of that. Every time I walk on campus, I'm so proud of our students for what they're doing, what they represent. And we understand they're always not going to agree. There's a difference of opinion. But we ask them to be open-minded. We ask them to be professional. We ask them to think, you know, if I work for a corporation and I disagree with my superior or my boss or the owner of the company, how would I act? If I didn't disagree, would I do what I'm doing now? Would I do the protest? Would I do some statements along those lines? Would I say, wait a minute, would I meet and diplomatically share my thoughts, my ideas, my concerns to move the organization forward? 99.9% of our students are doing just that. Unfortunately, we got those who are not from our area who are striving to influence our folks. I've even been told folks are being offered money to do crazy things. How sad is that in our society today that you do that? And then I read a letter from the NAACP who's done some amazing things in work. But yet for them to write an article and not talk to me or Dr. Jackson to share what are your dreams, what are your thoughts, why are you doing that, and write a publication asking for me to step down and resign and Dr. Jackson to resign, you know, I've never stepped back from a challenge. I'll continue to be focused to do what's right. That's the way I was raised. You know, I'm the first person in my family to go to college. Folks invested in me, and I want to invest in those to make a difference. So we'll do what's right. We'll meet with the Secretary of Education. We'll support her. We'll challenge her to do what's right. We'll challenge her to be the best she can be for Bethune-Cookman University. We'll challenge the White House to also do the same. See, Dr. Jackson opened the door for Bethune-Cookman. He was invited to the White House with all HBCUs, and many are going under. Many are failing today. There are 33 HBCUs looking for a college president. What does that tell you? But we're focused. We have a rising star who's bringing us to new heights in this area. See, we have 5 colleges and universities in our area. We compete with all those. And when I can go around town and say that the largest gala is held for Bethune-Cookman University, you know how proud I am of our students, of our president, because of what he's doing to bring us to that level of excellence. So I'm proud to be a member of the board. I'm proud to be a part of 31 CEOs who are focused to do what's right. And we're going to continue to work hard to make BCU the best it can be. So again, Dr. Jackson, thank you and God bless you for your faith in this university and our community.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Now, one question that our audience definitely wants to know that I want to ask you, Chairman, is was the board supportive of the decision?
Yes, we voted when Dr. Jackson brought the challenge to us that would you like that opportunity, we voted to confirm his decision. Because as CEOs, like Dr. Jackson said, if you're not at the table, how can you mold and shape the ideas of future education? You can't. If you're not at the table to discuss it, what do? Sit back and not do anything? So when Dr. Jackson mentioned this opportunity, we went, what an opportunity for not only Bethune-Cookman, for all of education in Volusia County, to have the highest person in education in the land come to Daytona Beach, Florida, as the first presentation in education, and we get a chance to talk to her. Other colleges and universities get a chance to speak with her. Public education will get a chance. What an opportunity for Volusia County education as a whole. So we're excited. See, we see the value of meeting with those kind of individuals to talk about our philosophies, our thoughts, our ideas, our concerns in the area of education. Their ideas may be different than ours, but unless we lobby them, see, I was a lobbyist for years in my former life with the phone company. I had to share our ideas and our concerns with elected officials in Washington and Tallahassee. Now, they didn't always agree with me, but unless I had a chance to meet with them, how can I hopefully have them experience my thoughts, my ideas, to shape their ideas? So that's what we're striving to do in education for our kids, their future. And we hope our kids will learn that. As Dr. Jackson said, this is a wonderful opportunity to have somebody that you may not agree with, share their thoughts and their ideas and concerns, and you share yours with them. But I can tell you already, Dr. Jackson's received a letter from the Secretary of Education, and I'll have Dr. Jackson share what Ms. DeVos said to Dr. Jackson.
Basically, through all of this, there's been a learning process for the U.S. Secretary of Education and what we are trying to do. And there's a press release that came out, and I've never seen this in my 40 years of higher education, that the U.S. Secretary of Education released a statement from her office saying that reaffirming her strong support of HBCUs and the critical role they play in our communities. The president also had echoed that. Now, we're not saying that what our view is the way that it must be, but reasonable people can come together and dialogue, and out of that will come a different position. And we believe that you got to be inside to influence a change. Being outside, all you're doing are hollering and screaming and running petitions, and nothing changes. And what we're about is change. Our founder was about change. When you can think about the fact of the matter that when our founder was trying to find a site for our institution, she bought a garbage dump. And she was not, dismayed about that. She saw the possibilities. I got a piece of land, and I can turn this into something great and special. Now, and to that end, then look at our campus. It's one of the most beautiful campuses in the United States, not just in Florida. But she did not stop because there was some opposition. When the Ku Klux Klan came, and they were, my sense is, to intimidate her. But she told her young girls what they need to do, and that's why this little light of mine became our hymn of praise. I'm going to let it shine, and so I'm not, I'm not thin-skinned. I understand the agenda. I understand the opposition, but for me, we will persevere, and we will make it and succeed in a mighty way because God is in charge.
That's right. God is indeed in charge. Now, as we prepare to close this out, President Jackson, with all of the agendas that are taking place, tomorrow really is about the students, if it's not about anyone else. And so I want to ask you to use these last 2 minutes to talk to the students that might feel like their day has been overshadowed, the students who aren't elated but are a little disappointed and feel like more media is going to be there concerned about who's speaking rather than about their accomplishments. Can you talk to them and tell them what your prayer is for them tomorrow?
One is you should never allow anyone to steal your joy. You made it in spite of obstacles. You made it when you didn't see a way of your dilemma. And you can't afford to allow someone who, someones, if you will, who may have a different agenda. This is your day. This is your day. Celebrate it with your family members and your loved ones and your children. And we cannot afford to have the detractors. And see, there will be detractors in our lives. But we cannot be derailed from the journey that God has placed us on. And it's going to be a celebration. And I pray to God that those who don't see that they are infringing upon the rights of our graduates and their families, because they are selfish in their intent, away with them. But I, in the end, say to our students that God has brought you thus far, and He's going to take you to the next level. And so if He did it in the past, He's going to do it in the future.
Thank you so much, President Jackson and Chairman Petrock, for joining us today on the Wildcat Newsfeed. This is Fran Barnes, your virtual media manager and host, and thank you for tuning in with us on the BCU Wildcat Newsfeed, also known as #TalkTuesday.